Welcome to the show. Well, it's a case of apples and oranges today, Tony.
Well, that's right, Ted. You could say that one car has hit the mark and the other's fallen a little bit short.
Last season we had a look at the Sonata, but they've made some changes since then.
Well, that's right. We have to keep up with these to see how they're doing in the marketplace. Hyundai launched the Sonata in order to try and take advantage of a more lucrative market.
Even for its class, this is quite a large car and very roomy inside. As a looker, it falls into the category of conservative. But for 1992, it's been given fresh front-end styling. Also new is Hyundai's corporate logo, and one that looks better than most rivals to my eyes. A fairly handsome machine, it incorporates styling cues from a dozen other makes, but even so ends up with a look of its own. A little boldness by Hyundai designers might have helped on the sales front, though. Our GLS test car looked great in its dark blue and silver two-tone. It had me wondering why other makers are so reluctant to experiment with duotone colours. For 1992, a new engine can be found beneath the Sonata's hood, a 2-litre 16-valve 4 based on a Mitsubishi design. Like so many other motors of this configuration, it needs to be revved to get the best out of it, not easily possible with our car's 4-speed automatic gearbox. The transmission, by the way, has an overdrive switch in addition to normal and power settings, so you can pick and choose to some extent. In automatic form, the Sonata will accelerate to 100 kilometers per hour in about 11 seconds, and fuel economy runs in the 10 litres per 100 kilometers range for city or highway driving. Price of the GLS version is just under $16,700, and the warranty is 3 years or 60,000 kilometers. It handles pretty well for a family sedan, and braking is nice and progressive using the almost generic combination of discs up front and drums at the rear. The interior is a real delight and belies the Sonata's modest price tag. Getting inside is no chore because Hyundai has equipped its Sonata with proper key-operated central locking. Seats are trimmed in a durable-looking velour, which was very well fitted with no evidence of sagging or misaligned seams, something that plagues economy sedans. Everything is easily within reach, and the driver gets an excellent set of 6 instrument dials of proper analog design. Controls work smoothly and with commendable precision, and seat belts are adjustable for height, a useful touch. Another handy feature is a 2-cup drinks holder. Some of the trim is a bit plasticky, but this is more a matter of surface texture than cheapness of materials. Cabin stowage is good, but seat back pockets would have been nice for otherwise well-looked-after rear passengers. There's plenty of head and shoulder room for bigger drivers, and I was glad to find that the windshield wiper pattern has been improved over earlier versions of this car. There are lots of convenience items, including a very accessible door-mounted trunk release, which operates when the ignition is off, a lesson for some domestic makers. Rear seat passengers get huge amounts of space, and even my 6'1" or so could find comfort back there, something rare these days. There's a useful fold-down rear armrest, and the seat backs fold to enable users to fit long loads in the trunk, which is huge and uncluttered, I might add. The latest Sonata reinforces Hyundai's efforts to win some of the market cornered by Honda, Nissan and Toyota, not to mention domestics. Competition is intense in this sector and buyers have a wide choice. The Sonata can be compared to a host of rivals, including the Honda Accord, Mazda 626, Toyota Camry, Subaru Legacy, Nissan Stanza, Ford Tempo, Chevy Cavalier and Chrysler Acclaim.
Well, I've got to give this one a driving dollar value of a full tank, Ted, because I just can't find too much wrong with it.
I agree 100%. The biggest problem with the Sonata is that it's in the most competitive market segment of them all, the compact four-door sedan. The competition is formidable out there, and it's really going to lose sales to some of the Japanese guys. But I think this is a very good car. It's underrated. People don't pay enough attention to it, and I think they should give it a second look. I really do.
Well, that's right. It's every time I get into one, I think, well, this can't be this inexpensive, because it's got lots of room, it's nicely finished, it's got all the instrumentation and fittings you could want. The car is a little bit bland to look at, but so are almost all its competitors, really. I mean, from the Accord to the Stanza.
And the engine is a delight in this thing. It's a Mitsubishi design, as you pointed out, but it's very well done. It's got a lot of power, good power range, good fuel economy. The only problem I have with the Sonata is if you're going to look at it in terms of finish, it's not quite as well assembled as the Japanese cars. It's just lacking a bit. Maybe rattles a bit more. Things don't fit as nicely.
Yeah, I disagree with you on that.
I'm not saying it's bad.
No, I know exactly what you're saying. You have to dig a little bit here to find fault. I think the assembly quality is pretty good. I mean, the reason I commented on the textures of the materials, these are real details. I mean, this sort of thing, you have to really dig around when you start saying you don't like the surface pattern on the plastic moldings, you know. But the car generally is very good.
And of course, the other problem that Hyundai has here is that the Sonata is competing with the new Elantra, which is almost like price exactly the same. So,
well, there is some overlap there. I think the Elantra is a cheaper car and a smaller car.
Not by much.
Not by much. But this is really a big car on the trunk. Yeah. It's nice to have a trunk with a big flat floor in it, piles of room in there. The folding seat backs are very good. Put long loads in.
It shows how serious Hyundai are about this market. They want to succeed here, and I think they're almost giving this car away. They can't be making a lot of money on it because their price is so low on it, considering what you get.
Well, of course, we all know that manufacturing costs are lower in Korea than they are in some other parts of the world, particularly in Japan, where they've got very high, and this has helped it. And I mean, whether this is fair or unfair, I'm not going to discuss. I mean, the fact is that take advantage of it while you can. I mean, this is you can buy a car like this with all this room and so forth, but I think it's very much underrated.
I agree.
Okay, let's sum up here. Things we didn't like, not much really, a little bland on the styling side, and could have done with some seat back pockets back of the front seats. On the plus side, lots of things, including very good value, very roomy and a wonderful interior, an outstanding piece of work. Driving dollar value, got to get a full tank. Why pay more and get less?
I couldn't agree more. Take a look at this one, and we'll be right back.